next witness, Mr. McLean?
The state calls Phoebe Wallingford. Request permission to treat this witness as a hostile witness, Your Honor.
Hostile doesn't have to describe it.
Did your niece ever have occasion to spend the night with Mr. Thomason?
Yes, it is indelicate, and it's also impertinent.
Your Honor.
Answer the question, Mrs. Wallingford.
I do not peep into other people's bedrooms.
So you don't know what your niece and Mr. Thomason did all night?
No, of course I don't. Wait a minute. That's not what I meant.
Did your niece ever tell you that she was in love with Jim Thomason?
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
Goes to motive, Your Honor.
I'll allow it.
Did Brooke ever tell you that she loved Jim Thomason?
Well, there's love, and then there is love.
I'll take that as a yes.
But all that changed.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallingford. No more questions.
Mr. Dillon?
Mrs. Wallingford, isn't it true that at one time, Brooke English, in fact, everyone thought that Jim Thomason had saved her life?
Oh, yes, because that was his intention.
So she was warm and kindly and affectionate to the man that she thought she knew?
Yes, but that was before she discovered the full impact of his infamy.
That he was a child pornographer.
Objection.
Sustain. You know the drill, Mr. Dillon. Confine yourself to the testimony established by the prosecution.
Mrs. Wallingford, we've established that your niece was affectionate with the deceased. Did that ever change?
Oh, absolutely. When she discovered that he was responsible for the crash of Flight 149, which resulted in the death of Maria Santos Gray and all those other people, she couldn't bear the sight of him.
Thank you, Mrs. Wallingford. Reserve the right to recall the witness.
Mr. McLean, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Wallingford, you testified that the defendant was horrified by Jim Thomason.
She found him repulsive.
I see. And yet she still accepted his proposal of marriage.
She did not. She loathed the man.
At this time, the people would like to enter into evidence a receipt for a diamond ring purchased by Mr. Thomason. Do you recognize this ring, Mrs. Wallingford?
Well, it's exactly like every other diamond ring. Rather small.
Isn't it true that Jim Thomason gave this to your niece in expectation of marrying her? Now remember, you're still under oath.
I do not need you to remind me of my duty, young man. Now, as far as the ring is concerned, she accepted it only so that he would not get suspicious.
In other words, she lied to him.
A woman has a right to change her mind, especially when it comes to men.
But she didn't change her mind, did she, Mrs. Wallingford? As you testified, she knew all along that she was not going to marry Jim Thomason.
She was gathering evidence. She was afraid of him, afraid of what he might do to her children. Now, he had already hurt Laura dreadfully by passing out those filthy photographs. Something which you people have done absolutely nothing about.
So she took matters into her own hands.
Objection, Your Honor, leading the witness.
Did you ever hear your niece threaten Jim Thomason? You've already testified that she was gathering evidence, that she lied to her fiancé. She obviously didn't trust the man anymore.
But you know what he did? He planted a live microphone in her living room, which is strictly against the law, and we had to turn the radio on with loud, loud, loud music so that we could make our plans.
Plans to kill him, Mrs. Wallingford?
Certainly not.
She threatened him, didn't she? She loathed him. You said it yourself. She wanted him gone, and so she threatened him.
You back off, young man, or I'll make you wish you had. Now, there's a threat. But I very much doubt that anyone expects me to shoot you.
Mrs. Wallingford, the question is very simple. Did you hear your niece threaten Jim Thomason?
I can't recall.
Your Honor, please instruct the witness to answer the question.
Mrs. Wallingford, please consider your response carefully.
Judge, I'm not as young as I used to be, and my memory is, well, just ask your wife.
Your Honor.
The point is, Judge, that Jim Thomason of Viper got exactly what he deserved. Why, if he'd been allowed to live, God only knows how many other horrors he would have inflicted on how many other little children.
This is Thomason's fault. You know that, don't you?
Jim's in Hong Kong.
I don't care where he is. He's the one that got Jamie into drugs. He's the one that got him into that business. 7 years. 7 years is what he gets for killing Maria and all those people, and he just gets out.
We should have killed him when we had the chance. Jim Thomason preyed on little children.
Don't you understand? He wouldn't have stopped. He wouldn't have stopped. I had to kill him.
Sorry, Your Honor. Order.
He was a monster.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Even if I had to kill
Order
him.
in there.
He would have killed
Order,
my
order.
son.
Miss
He was a
Keefer, please.
monster.
You're sorry, Your
They
Honor.
have to know.
Mr. Dillon, I gave you fair warning.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. This is a very difficult time for my client.
Yes, while we all appreciate the gravity of Miss English's situation, I will not tolerate disruptions in this courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor. We hear you loud and clear.
Mr. McLean.
If you would prevail upon Mrs. Wallingford to answer my question, Your
By all
Honor.
means. Mrs. Wallingford, did you ever hear Miss English threaten James Thomason? I want an answer now.
Damn it, John, of course she threatened him. We all threatened him from one time to another, but she never intended to.
That'll be all, Mrs. Wallingford. Thank you.
I'm sorry, darling.
Mr. Dillon?
Nothing further at this time, sir.
Mr. McLean, your next witness?
The people rest, Your Honor.
In that case, we're adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
I just blew it, didn't I?
Hey, if you think that was bad, wait till you see what we do to them.